welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox, and this is
Sister Kate.
I got an email from one of y'all, who shall remain nameless, asking some questions, a lot of questions, and instead of me writing a long email back on my phone with my thumbs, I thought Sister Kate and I could sit here and discuss it together with y'all. They like it when you're on the videos, by the way. I have to wear these to read. All right, so basically this Viking is from Canada, and they just bought 12 acres of land that's fully treed. You don't have to read this. I'll tell you and tell them, and then you can just think spontaneity. I made notes. But they bought 12 acres of land, fully treed, several hours away from the big city in Canada where they live.
Smart move.
And they want to develop it. And they said it's completely covered in native trees. And they think they're going to go visit their land 3 times in the summer for about a week at a time. Okay?
Yeah.
To develop it. And they're a young couple. And they want, their plan, first of all, is to have a tree nursery on the farm to generate income in the long term, so we don't need our corporate jobs. And it says we'll be focusing on permaculture plants and fruit and nut trees that are hardy to our climate. So that's the main focus in the planning, and it's driving all the other steps. And so the first thing I thought about was, okay, so you want to develop some kind of fruit nut nursery deal. It's already covered in trees. Is there a market for fruit and nuts that can be grown on 12 acres that would sustain a couple economically so that they could leave their corporate jobs?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but that would be certainly something to look into. How many apples do you think you're going to sell a year? You know, and how many, where are you going to sell them? What's the cost of getting your apples to market, and then the cost that you're going to recoup? That's one. And the other thing I thought about on that was, and I know it wasn't your question, but it's where my brain went. You're going to plant these fruit trees. How long is it going to take before they're producing? You're going to plant these nut trees. How long is it going to take till they're producing?
Well, dwarf and semi-dwarf trees will start producing the first year you put them in the ground, but it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be like 3 to 5 apples per tree or whatever per tree. Then your nuts, I would say 5 to 7 years before they start producing probably. And also for some of your more standard variety fruit trees, it's 5 to 7 years. What I thought of was you got to clear some of those 12 acres to get your fruit and nut trees in.
We're going to get to that.
Wait, I'm also not done. There's one more thing. There's a lot of regulation for producing fruit trees to sell in America.
They're in Canada.
Right. So
probably more.
Right. So you need to check into that. You need to check into what are the regulations for selling fruit and nuts in Canada and in your particular area.
All right. So our first trip there to start work is in 3 weeks. And this is what they plan to do. Let me read you all that they plan to do. They're going to go for 1 week.
Right.
And it's all covered in trees right now.
Right.
They're going to clear out parking place for the car. Remember when we did that here? We had to clear just to be able to get our car in. They're going to clear out space for a canvas tent and a camp kitchen / fire pit. So they're going to make a campsite like we did on Shofar Mountain when we first came out here. They're going to chop some wood to start drying. They want to create a roof for a wood pile with a tarp, and then set up a bin to collect water from the tarp. They want to dig a cache for our tools so we don't have to lug them back and forth in our city car for each trip.
Smart.
They want to clear a garden area and cover it with wood chips to start building soil. Hopefully they'll get all that done on the first trip.
In a week.
So what are your thoughts?
One, if you're going to try to do that, schedule it. Day 1, have your goals, the tools you're going to need, even a schedule for the day. We're going to start at 7, we're going to eat lunch at 11, we're going to start again at 12:30, and we're going to end at 6. Whatever.
When do we get to take our siesta?
Yeah, no siesta when you're doing this. Also, when we had the road cleared for us to get in to Shofar Mountain, we had it bulldozed, and that,
So that
in
brings
one
up
day.
that brings up one of my things. You said you're going to clear out a parking place for the car and a
Right.
campsite, basically. What tools do you plan on using for
Right.
that?
Are you
It
just
matters.
you're gonna chainsaw, because that's gonna take you a lot longer, and you got to be real careful.
And if you chainsaw a tree off, it's going to be really difficult to get the roots out. Typically what happens with a bulldozer, if you're going to make like a road or a permanent cleared space, is they will knock the tree over and then the whole root ball comes up and then they push it off to the side.
And then you can take your chainsaw, cut the tree that they've bulldozed for you, and make that into the lumber you're going to use, or not lumber, but
Firewood.
the firewood. You know, you can start the process right there.
You should check out the YouTube channel Following Yeshua. If you go to my YouTube channel and look at who I'm subscribed to, it's on there. Brother Chris and Sister T, they bought several acres of totally treed land. They couldn't even get their camper trailer onto their land. They had to park it on the road until they cleared a way in. And I believe they did that with chainsaw.
Right, he's been doing that like a steady process, and
So-
sometimes he has brethren that come over and help him, but it takes longer than a week.
And we need to pick this up a little bit because I
Right.
don't want a really long video.
Okay.
The other thing is you said you're going to do a tarp to catch water and to have over your kitchen, that kind of thing. I learned from Nick Fouch at Fouch-O-Matic Off Grid the phrase temporary is permanent. A tarp won't last a year. The weather will just beat it up and tear it up, and I guess you could fold it up every time you left and unfold it when you came back. You could do that. That would make it last longer. But you might as well just build a hard roof is what I'm thinking. You know, even if it's just plywood, you know, or OSB or something, just put that up, put it up on some poles, and because if you're going to use this kitchen area, you're actually going to use it to collect water and stuff, that'll work better for you than a tarp, and it won't take much longer to set that up. That was one thought I had.
Yep, concur. Tarps don't really last that long. Ooh, I just had a thought though. If you look at our videos and my early videos with the 16-foot cattle panels, bending them over and then tarping them, that's a really quick, easy shelter, and those tarps have lasted more than a year.
Yeah, but you're really not going to catch water off of that. It's too hard to channel where the water's going. They're talking about a tarp where all the water comes down and then they can catch it. If you have a Quonset hut shape, you can't catch the water.
You could put basins at the bottom. Anyway, it's just a thought.
So that's that. And then you said you're going to cache your tools. How are you going to waterproof it? Your cache. Just something for you to think about. You don't want to ruin your tools. You don't want to come back to a tote bin full of water that was underground or something like that. And then you said that you're going to clear a garden area and cover it with wood chips. Where are you getting the wood chips? Just something to think about. You know, maybe you know. Yep, we're going to get them here. You said you're driving in your city car, so that means you'd probably have to have them delivered. My number one recommendation for you, if you're going to start developing a piece of land, is to get a full-size pickup truck, because
Yep.
you're going to be using it to carry all kinds of stuff.
Even just rent it for the week if you don't want to and can't afford to buy one.
And you said you're going to clear a garden area and a camp area. Are you talking about your orchard area or your vegetable garden area? Either way, that's a lot of clearing. That's a lot of chopping down trees. So just something to think about. Yeah, I'd seriously consider hiring a bulldozer. All right, second trip. 1 or 2 weeks long, and they're planning to do the following. Plant half a dozen fruit trees and a full bed of tree seeds for rootstock. I don't know what that is. Plant 2 dozen berry bushes. Dig 1 or 2 swales on our hill to collect as much water as possible for our baby trees. Continue to work on the outdoor kitchen. Build an outdoor shower. Expand the garden area and clear around the tent spot. This will eventually be the home site, so we will expand on each trip. What are your thoughts?
It's a lot of hard work. Again, use tools if you can get them. To plant your 2 dozen fruit trees, if you can get a tractor with an auger to dig your holes, it's going to make it a lot easier.
It might be easy digging there, though. I mean, it really could. It could be like digging, you know, back east or something. I don't know.
Just saying, like digging a hole for a tree takes a while. You're going to want peat moss, I'm assuming, to kind of get in there around the roots and stuff. Don't just plant it in the bare ground.
They said they're going to dig a swale or 2. What are you going to dig your swale with? I don't see you doing that with a hoe, a mattock, and a shovel. Not any kind of real swale. You know, I mean, if you're just talking about a 6-foot swale or something, okay. But if you're talking about a swale that, you know, goes for a couple hundred feet, you're probably going to need stuff.
That's
Machines.
excavating machinery. You can rent it. You can rent it here. So, I mean, if you go up for a week, rent that for a week. And a lot of places will deliver it to your site if you're renting it.
Then they said in the medium term, they want to get a well. They want to get power hooked up. The land is on grid.
Okay.
Start a garden with perennial plants.
Yeah, I love it.
Start growing mushrooms for sale. Pour foundation on the home site and build the house. And we plan to live in a tent until the house is built. And so the first thing I thought about is this is Canada, and you
Right.
plan on living in a tent till the house is built.
It's gonna be pretty
Just
cold.
get a shed or build a shed right from the get-go. Figure out where you're going to want to put the house, put the shed in what's equivalent to the backyard of where the house is going to be, and you can end up using it to store tools. You can end up using it for a guest cottage later or a garden shed or whatever. But if you have a shed and you put a little wood stove in it, then you can actually make it warm.
Right.
And you can extend your visiting time out through the fall and even the winter if you want to go out there.
Also,
then.
with the shed, you can catch the water off
Catch
that
water.
roof, and it'll make it that much easier.
So I would say get or build a shed.
I like that idea.
The other thing is water. You should do that sooner rather than later. My plan at Shofar Mountain was that's the first thing we were going to do was have a well drilled, because if we couldn't get water here, we were going to cut our losses, sell it, and move elsewhere. You got to have water. So
You do.
If you're planning on your main water supply coming from a well, which I think is a good plan, make sure you get that well in and can afford it before you spend too much money on everything else. I'd hate to see you spend a lot of money, time, blood, sweat, and tears developing a place and then figure out you can't sink a well or the well's sulfur water or whatever.
And talk to your neighbors about the depth of their wells and who they recommend to do the well drilling in your area. And remember, if you have really cold winters, you're going to want to do it when the ground is not
Frozen.
frozen, also not soaking wet when you get the thaw. You know, time of year when it's going to be able to be drilled.
And are black flies a problem in your part of Canada? If they are, a screened-in enclosure would probably be good. You know, you could start your cabin, if you weren't just going to buy one, like buy a shed or something, with a hard roof up on poles, right? You're going to need a pickup. I got a bug climbing on my leg. And then you could screen it in, and then eventually you could wall it in or add on to it. You know, shed roofs are easy to add on to in all directions.
And screens are worth their weight when there's a lot of bugs.
So,
The perennial, can I say that for the real quick, the garden?
yeah.
The perennial plants is a great idea. I highly recommend the walking onions, mustard greens. What else we got that grows right up? Lettuce. We planted lettuce, heirloom that throws seeds down and grows lettuce again. And we've got little cherry tomatoes that are this year going to have tons of plants. We got I'm not even sure. I think it came in the mulch, but these little teeny tomatoes that are reseeding themselves every year. So it's a great idea.
Hey, please give some serious thought, economics, to making a living on 12 acres with a house and everything else that goes on there, with an orchard, a garden, and mushrooms. Can it be done? Probably. Realistically, don't know. Give that some real thought. Crunch some numbers on that. And hey, have fun with it. I liked Sister Kate's idea of have a schedule for each week that you go up there almost down to the hour of what you're going to do, and then be flexible, because everything takes 3 times as long.
Right.
So whatever
and there's
you
never
plan.
an end to the project. So
I think
don't be
you're
discouraged.
right. I think your list is big. I don't know that you'll get everything done, but if you do, awesome. I hope you do.
And take video of it.
Yeah, oh, I'm glad you said that. You should start a YouTube channel. You should start a YouTube channel from city to country, or, you know, come up with a cool name for it and start documenting the whole thing. I think people would find it interesting. You're living in a city, you're moving to the country to a piece of raw land, and you're going to make a go of it if you start from the beginning and do it.
Right. And if you don't like video, then take notes and write a book about it, because this is the time. The pioneering, neo-pioneers, homesteaders.
All right, well, somebody is coming out of her, my people.
That's right. That's you.
Your shirt should be here in a week. I ordered Sister Kate one. Y'all's shirts who ordered them should be here probably within a week too. So, all right. You got anything else for the peeps?
Good luck with it.
All right. I'll see you out there.